Hello, everybody! Sunday Funday is back with probably fourth, fifth most look forward to movie from the consensus of everybody else. Well, yes, it's back with Suicide Squad, the latest in the DC entertainment universe, or whatever they're calling this. It's kind of weird. Magic Jump Cup. Yeah, sorry, Cat was one in. Now she's sitting underneath the tripod, so she's probably going to hit it. Yeah, the camera just... But, as you can see, I am wearing a shirt that says, I don't give a rat's ass. And this wasn't my original intention going into the film, because I actually was trying to hold out hope for this, because it was a movie that, yes, I'm not a huge fan of what DC is trying to do. Please don't sound my phone. Thank you. With what they're trying to do with their movie universe, but hey, I really like David Ayer. I'm not a huge fan of some of his movies, but some of his lesser loved movies, such as Sabotage, I really enjoyed, even though it's kind of about nothing but horrible people. That's one attention. Hey, young milkers. But yes, we have a director who also directed Fury, which I loved. It's one of my all-time favorite war films, especially since it actually is an anti-war film. And it's just a fantastic movie. This movie's not. This shirt kind of sums it all up, and really how it feels throughout most of this. You kind of just don't give a rat's ass. It's not a particularly great movie. It's not even a very decent movie. And I will say, it's like the first probably 30 minutes of this movie, I was like, alright, I'm not hating this. I'm kind of enjoying this. Then the movie actually kind of started, and oh, yeah. Where to start? Well, thankfully, if you have never read the comic books, this movie does try to help you out a little bit by introducing you to the Suicide Squad. Though they don't get that name actually in the movie, they're just simply there and they exist. It's just kind of like something that Will Smith eventually throws out there. But we get introduction to all these characters and their backstories. Such as we learn that, of course, Will Smith is Deadshot. And if it doesn't, you don't know who the hell Deadshot is, it explains he's a hitman who pretty much doesn't miss. He's a damn fine shot that can hit just about anything that is out there. And I'm going to gloss over somebody. They also introduced Harley Quinn, because I've got a issue here. And in fact, I bet a lot of people will have issues with what they do here with Harley Quinn. But they at least introduce Harley Quinn. They explain her backstory for the most part right. She was a psychiatrist who pretty much became incessantly fascinated with the Joker. Though, they kind of don't explain Joker at all, which you don't necessarily have to, but it would have been sort of useful in here. But no, it's neither here nor there. Sorry, I thought I saw something in the camera. I was like, what's that? Oh. Then we get a brief introduction of Killer Croc, who just happens to be a guy who's like part alligator. How he's that way, they kind of don't really say. But oh well, he just happens to be part alligator. And he's tiny. It's kind of weird. When I'm used to Killer Croc, I know a lot of people will go to the Arkham series, which did a great job of actually showing off Killer Croc, even if his boss fight was insanely annoying, especially that section where it's like, oh, you can't have your like little toe hit the water, Killer Croc eats you. Oh, Arkham Asylum was a great game, short of that section, which just made me want to rip my hair out. And the ending, which was kind of stupid. But it was kind of weird to see Killer Croc, that I'm used to him being at least a bigger guy. He, you know, a good 7 foot, 8 foot. And I was like, alright, they're going to have to do CGI. Instead, they just go with the guy who looks like he's like my size. except for, a little bit more muscular. And you really can tell just how tiny he is when he's like taking off his shirt. It looks so wiener. He just looks like a little wiener guy. It's like, he doesn't look dangerous at all. It doesn't seem like he'd be a danger or anything. Which makes you wonder why in the hell they bothered Killer Croc in this movie. It's like, they knew they had to do Groot in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie because he's a massive tree person as CGI, and they went ahead and did that, and it worked. It's like, we're fine with that. I guess they just didn't have any belief that people are not going to believe this crocodile creature is real unless it looks like a normal human. But that's a minor gripe, if anything. They also very, very briefly introduced Captain Boomerang, who is a guy who happens to use boomerangs to kill people, which also kind of brings up a small little issue here and there. Captain Boomerang shows up, like, they show him, like, he's like, I'm gonna rob this place. And he kills his partner, which, like, okay, whatever. But then the Flash, like, appears right afterwards and stops Captain Boomerang. It's like, alright, there's only one issue right here. Where the hell was the Flash in all this before he killed his partner? You'd think he would have at least stopped the guy from murdering him. Or not, I guess Flash is a bit of an asshole. That's kind of seems how everybody is in this DC universe. Like, everybody's just assholes. And it's a big problem with this entertainment universe that they're doing. But I'm going to get into that more later. They also kind of go into Rick Flag. He's a Spec Ops guy. He's a supporting character from the Suicide Squad comics, who's, of course, not. He doesn't have any metahuman capabilities, if I'm not mistaken. Pardon me, I have not read Suicide Squad in years, so I don't remember. Then they also introduce the Enchantress, who is the witch lady. And big surprise, she's the bad guy girl thing in this movie, along with her brother Dark Khan. Those of you who do not remember the weirdness of Marvel vs. DC, the very final boss you fought was a combination of Darkseid and Shao Kahn somehow. That's exactly what this guy looks like. He's just a big fire thing that you see in the trailers that destroys the train. And I'm going to just be honest here. It's like, they explained the changes as well as they need to. They didn't need to do more. It was good. God, she is a forgettable villain. God, her brother doesn't even have a name. That's the worst thing. It's the Enchantress's brother. Does he have a fucking name? I don't know. Who gives a shit, I guess. Because his name is never said in the entire movie. Another huge issue with this movie is it's cut around in a lot of pieces. Like, there are certain scenes that I've known from trailer. Like, everybody knows, and one of the few parts I kind of liked from the trailers is whenever they were at the bar and they were all talking to each other. I like that scene. I thought that was kind of humorous in the trailers. It's not really in this movie at all. Yeah, it just exists. Thanks. I'm actually not done talking about characters. This is the worst part about this movie. And I'm going to have to deviate real quick because this movie has a shit ton of characters. And if you don't know some DC lore, though, or know some things, you might not care or really even bother with these characters all that much. And that does make a lot of problems for the movie because this movie is constantly trying to juggle all these characters and give them actually screen time. Give this person some screen time, some face time. The problem is you have two of your main characters, Harley Quinn and Deadshot, two of the most well-known of all of these villains, with the exception of Rick Flag, who's technically not a villain. He's just, But two of your main characters, and in terms of main actors, they have to demand some screen time, obviously from contract perspective and whatnot. And because of that, this movie does suffer from, well, we need to give Captain Boomerang some screen time. Alright, well, let's just have him say a couple of weird lines. And honestly, it's just, he's just there. He doesn't do anything throughout this entire movie. And it's like, okay, well, why is he even here? He just exists simply because we needed another villain. Like I said, he doesn't add anything to this movie. And also, we get the other, pretty much the only real metahuman besides Killer Croc and Enchantress. You get Diablo. I don't remember him much from the comics. He's probably a Teen Titan villain, I think. I might be dead wrong. Who knows? I don't follow DC as well as I do Marvel. Sorry, just don't. But Diablo, he pretty much just, he's got Pyro's abilities in ways so he can actually shoot out fire and everything. And control it. And boy, did his effects look bad. Like, I always thought in trailers, like, he's the guy who, in the trailers, he's the Hispanic guy who has the skull tattooed pretty much on his face. And I know the actor is from other things, I just can't think where. I just can't place him, it's going to bother me. But I always thought, it's like, oh, the fire effects don't look that great. Maybe it's just they haven't finished it. No, it looked kind of shoddy. Oh, well. Just everything seems to have this weird grain to it every time they do these effects, and because of that, it makes a lot of it look a little dated. Like, Green Lantern didn't look good for 2011. I think that's when it came out. Yeah, this doesn't look good for 2011, and it came out 5 years later. It's bad that technology has progressed already loads. I mean, I hate to keep harping on it, but Captain America Civil War, young Robert Downey Jr. I thought they somehow grabbed Robert Downey Jr. threw him through a time loop from the 80s. For a second, I realized, like, oh wait, no, that's gotta be CGI. But even when I try to watch it again, I'm sitting there going, I don't see the CGI. I see young Robert Downey Jr. It does help you have such an actor as Robert Downey Jr., but it also helps the CGI is really, really good. And it's bad. These DC movies constantly have this very, very bad CGI. I mean, it's cheap looking, and it's sad that it's so cheap looking because it's like, wow, y'all don't put enough effort into this. If you're gonna have something this big and this in your face, put some money into it. I mean, it's part of what killed Ghostbusters. One of the many millions of things that killed Ghostbusters. The movie looked cheap. The CGI looked rushed. It looked half-assed. That's how it looks here. But hey, Diablo. Since I went on tangent about CGI. But yeah, Diablo's in this movie, and he just is kind of there. He doesn't do anything, really. He uses his fire every now and then, and he mopes. Because, dear God, we didn't have enough of that in Superman vs. Batman, or Batman vs. Superman, whatever the name of that movie was. Oh, God. I'm trying to forget that travesty, but I still need to do something that I will let y'all know, hopefully, within a week or two. Hopefully, it will be within a week, not two. Who knows that with me? But, yeah. Diablo really just doesn't do anything throughout this entire movie. He just mopes. Oh, I killed my family. And it's sad and all, and it tries to give the character some depth, but beyond that, there's nothing to him. It's a superficial depth. It's as if, like, Batman, all that made him Batman was the fact his parents were dead. Okay, well, we need more than just that. It's like, alright, well, he's actually, a slick playboy, He actually is a great detective, a very intelligent person. Alright, that adds more depth to him. That actually makes him unique. And also, every now and then, he kind of slipped a little, like, almost dry humor, which is a very Batman thing. Watch the Bruce Timm, or is it Bruce Timm? I can't remember. But the Justice League show, Batman animated series. Watch all the shows and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And probably one of the best incarnations of Batman there has been. So, like I said, let's see, we got Diablo, Killer Croc, Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, Harley Quinn. Slipknot is in this movie as well. Those of you who don't know Slipknot, he is a guy who uses ropes. He is in this movie about as much as this video would be if I cut it down to 5 seconds. Yes, he is there to just be there. But again, we also have Rick Flag. We have Amanda Waller, if you want to also include her, because she's a very important supporting character, Suicide Squad. And last but not least, we also have fucking Katana, who feels so shoehorned into this movie that she just literally wanders in about halfway in and is like, hey, yo, that's Katana. We haven't talked about her yet because we didn't know we had the rights to her till now. Thanks. That's what it really feels like. It feels like something that, like, Deadpool would make a joke out of being, oh, so now she's just appearing simply so that way we can have a dun-dun-dun moment. Or anything like that. It feels weird. And pretty much like, oh, she has a sword that has the soul of her dead husband in it. Alright, cool. You don't really need to explain Katana too much, but it is kind of weird she's just there. And that is it. She's just there to look cool. She adds nothing to the story. In fact, she says nothing in English. It's all in Japanese. Well, I think she says like one thing in English. But other than that, she doesn't do anything except for do swordplay. Whoopee. Now, I was also going to talk about Slipknot real quick because we need to talk about another character. Now, thankfully, it actually is not really that there's 9 characters in this movie. There's actually only like 8. Or 8 main characters all separated. Because Slipknot is in this movie. He appears like, hey, yeah, this is dude Slipknot. We didn't even have a thing for him to talk about him. And, like, they inject them with the saying, and they even explain, like, it will kill you if you try to run away or if I just needs to activate. And something like Slipknot's like, I'm gonna run away. Chink. Boom. Dead. Just fucking dead. Blows his head off. It's like, well, thanks for bothering to have him here. Why did y'all even... Why did y'all have to demonstrate it? Which goes to show me something. This movie has a severe writing issue. It feels like certain scenes were cut and replaced, certain things were redone or reshot. Because we have whole areas like where they explain, this thing will kill you. I can activate it, Amanda Waller can activate it. It will not be any issue if you try to run from us. And then, like I said, they have to kill, or they kill Slipknot to show this. Like, look, see, it works. And he kind of like re-explains it. It's like, wait a second, you're explaining that. Wait, what? Huh? This movie feels really, really inconsistent with, one, its tone. It doesn't help that it feels like a rated R movie that was chopped down. Which, I will go ahead and say, I wouldn't have minded a rated R Suicide Squad. I, in fact, kind of would have preferred a rated R Suicide Squad. This movie feels a little... It feels a little nutless, you know? It doesn't have any real punch to it at times. Because there are a lot of things that are done that should be a little bloody or should be done a little bit dirty. Especially whenever eventually the big bad shows up, which, God, there's no... Enchantress and her brother, who, again, has no name, has, like, no presence in this movie. Like, they're just there, and the fight scene with them is one of the worst final fight scenes since Green Lantern. I shit you not. The only fight scene I think that's slightly worse than Green Lantern's final fight scene where he fights against the giant poo monster was Jonah Hex. And ironically enough, in our DC film from 2011. I think Jonah Hex might have been from 2010. I can't remember. But all I know is Jonah Hex was like an hour long. It was really weird. But the final fight scene between him and John Malkovich takes place in like 3 different dimensions at the same time. And is insanely hard to follow. And you're sitting there going, wait, what? What? Is this really happening? Wait, what? What's going on? It is one of the more difficult fight scenes to try and watch because it is so choppy and just so poorly edited together. But I have to explain the plot to you because movie really kind of wanders around with whatever it wants to do. Oh. Okay. Turns out that Enchantress is a bad person. Who knew? And she does this thing to pretty much... I'm trying to think how it goes, because this is the thing, because it doesn't make sense how or why, but somehow she, like, activates her brother, who was in this one thing, who wasn't contained from Enchantress being able to get to. And she activates him and puts it in, like, this other guy. And then the guy does stuff and becomes Dark Khan. If it seems like I'm really confused, because the more I'm seeing her trying to think about it, I'm like, it really doesn't make any sense. And on top of everything, it comes from left field. Like, the first 20-30 minutes is kind of setting up the characters, which is kind of an issue, but it is actually something that they do need to do. Well, all the characters except for Slipknot and Katana, who are just fucking up here. But it's setting up all these characters, and then, bam, it's like, alright, plot, let's start the plot. Enchantress does something. That pretty much, I think that's what David Ayer wrote whenever he was writing the script. I'm like, alright, shit, we gotta have something for them to fight. Enchantress does something evil. Okay. Why? It's because she needs to get her powers all back. Because she wants to rule the earth again and everything. Alright, cool. What is she doing? She is doing lightning storm things. Stuff. That's the best way to think about it. It's like, Enchantress just shows up, makes her brother, who somehow creates this diversion, is able to now control the lay she's in the body of, even though supposedly she wasn't able to. The lay had to summon her or something like that. I don't know. That's not very well explained. Again, there's a lot of issues with this movie. That being one of them. And just out of nowhere, we have to call in the squad, because we gotta have them this, guys. Alright, cool. This is not a squad I would send to do this. They're like, oh, we need to rescue a high-value target. And surprise, Amanda Waller is being duplicitous with them. And one of the high-value targets, actually Amanda Waller, because she was in town to stuff, because somehow they knew that Enchantress had activated her brother and knew instantly that he was there. Wait, what? Like I said, this movie doesn't make sense if you really break down or look into it, especially if you try to follow its timeline. Because this movie, like, has everything happen, feels like in a space of like 2 hours. Which literally is how long the movie is. Because you have a feeling it's supposed to be taking place over the course of a day, or at least a couple of days in between. And Enchantress doing her diabolical stuff that they're somehow not able to follow, but they are. Because. But somehow that happens. The guy kind of does stuff. Not enough to rouse up enough suspicion that people are like, oh no, it's just a Weathers. Okay, what? Giant death cloud. No. Pardon me. And then there's this other stuff that happens. And literally, the last bit of the movie, after Enchantress pretty much arises her brother, is just the rest of the team walking around trying to find her. Oh, go find Amanda Waller. Well, HVT, oh Lord, do. It's actually them. And honestly, that just it's not interesting to see these people walking around. They're just kind of dicks to each other, and because of that, this doesn't work very well. In Guardians of the Galaxy, which is really badly wants to be, it worked them working against and kind of off of each other. Because the characters were dicks to each other, but they weren't trusting of one another. But in the end, they all were mostly good-natured for the most part. Pardon me. Or you could at least understand them. You can get behind them. You can care about them. You can be worried about them. Here, this kind of doesn't always have the same thing. That's kind of the big deal about Suicide Squad. You do want to care about the characters, but you do realize like they're always put into situations in which, more likely than anything, someone's going to die. And in this, they kill a couple of the members just cause. But it's how this movie does against how the comic does that makes the movie very, very inferior. Follow me out here. If this was a show, this doesn't even have to be a show that's on CW, because dear God, we don't need to give those fuckers any more money, because they already make shitty shows as it is. But if this was a show on HBO, there we go. Let's HBO this shit. This was a show on HBO. You would have a lot more character development. You would have a lot more character bits. You would see these characters growing together as a group, and that's the reason why you would care about them more. Because you don't want to see the group dynamics split. You know it's going to happen because that's the name of the show. Here, it doesn't work very well in terms of a movie. And I hate to be a guy who's like, this really should have been a show. But it should have been. This should have been a television show. Cable or anything. There's too much where I can't care about these characters because you have to set them up, or else I'm not going to care about them that way as well. But I know someone's going to die in this. And unfortunately, it's who you think's going to die throughout this. It's not Captain Boomerang because he doesn't have enough character, because he's the funny guy, pretty much is his character. It's not Harley Quinn or Deadshot because they're the two leading actors. It's not going to be Katana because we can't kill the only other actual minority in the entire movie. It's like, alright, well, we got to kill one minority. We couldn't kill Rick Flag because that would make some kind of sense or anything. Let's just kill a Hispanic guy. Who gives a shit? Yeah, they just killed Diablo off because he sacrifices himself. And it's funny, he's, out of all the characters, him and Deadshot probably have the most character development throughout the entire movie. This movie doesn't have to have them have a bunch of character development, though I did like what they did with Deadshot and Diablo. Though Diablo had nothing to do throughout most of this movie because we had a lot of Deadshot. Now, I have been walking around, and I know it seems like I'm missing parts of the movie. Those who have seen it and those who have watched the trailers and are wondering about the one big white green-haired elephant I'm missing. And that is Jared Leto as the Joker. I fucking hate this performance. It's terrible. I understand, and I totally understand, they get a Joker performance that is over the top. I get that. I want that. I understand a Joker performance who's trying to be a little sadistic. I get that. I want that. I get a Joker performance that's supposed to be a bit of a crime boss. I get that. I want that. And you're supposed to have a good blend of all three of these. Two of the best examples I can think of off the top of my head. In fact, if you want to go three, if you want to go include a television show, Mark Hamill's Batman Animated Series Joker is still one of the best Jokers there is. If you want to include him with the Arkham games, because he still voices him all the way up to, I think he even did it in Arkham Knight. I don't know, I can't remember. You know he didn't do it in Origins, so. But still, it was such a powerful voice, and it was such a great performance, and a perfect show of what Joker is, that I loved it. I still think of that as Joker. Heath Ledger's Joker less of a crime boss, and a little bit more of just a sadistic psychopath, but still a little bit more subdued, but in the best of ways. It worked perfectly. Jack Nicholson, more of the crime boss and more of the over the topness, a little less of, being very smart. Jack Nicholson, I loved him. His Joker was kind of dumb. That was more writing, less Jack Nicholson. But it was an incredible Joker. This Joker feels like a parody of all those. It feels like, oh, well, I want to write Joker, but I want to make a joke of the Joker. I will go ahead and say it's like, I do not like the New 52. When it comes to what DC has decided to take in their direction, even though now they're changing course because they're now doing the rebirth thing. But I did not like the New 52. I did not like what they did with a lot of the characters. I didn't like how mopey everything was. Because let's just face it, all the New 52 was fucking depressing. Everything was shit. And everybody agrees that New 52 was kind of terrible. For the most part, none of it was very, very good. Any good was always heavily eclipsed by the bad. And I think this is a lot of the New 52's Joker. Because he is sadistic. But I can't quite put my finger. I think it's just because it's an over-the-top performance that feels like he's phoning it in at the same time. And it feels like he's trying to parody the Heath Ledger voice, but Jared Leto's too shit of an actor to pull it off. I don't give a shit. People say, oh, well, he's got an Academy Award. I don't give a fuck. You can blow 28 people and probably get an Academy Award. You just got to know the right people to blow. And it's just, he's terrible in this. But it pales in comparison to what they decided to do and take in direction when it came to him and Harley. Again, I know they want to do certain things, and I accept them taking liberties with the comic books. I like the fact that Captain America was not raised, or wasn't reborn in all essence, in the 60s. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. I like the fact that Deadshot's played by Will Smith. He gives a lot of character to it that most other actors wouldn't be able to. Regardless of the fact people say it's like, oh, Deadshot's actual guy. I don't give a shit. Who gives a flying turd? I don't mind changes like that. I do mind making Batman kill. That annoys me to no end because it fucking makes a lot of plot holes for you. And even more importantly, I hate that they make Joker and Harley some kind of lovesick couple. Let me put it to you this way, and how this movie portrays it in all essence. Joker is not Joker in this. In all ways of speaking, he's Christian. Yes, from 50 Shades of Grey. He's him. Because he tortures Harley, he's quite, in most ways, abusive to her, even though he tries to act like he loves her, but it comes off more just a guy who wants his toy back. And Harley, for her most part, is Anna. She puts up with the abuse, even though she should question it, even though we have ample evidence that she's much smarter than that. It's sad when a television show meant for kids, although there's a strong, easy argument to say it's also meant for adults, which I fully agree with, understands Harley Quinn's character, one, because they helped create it, two, because they actually did it, and they actually fleshed it out, more than an adult male who supposedly has all these other things, all this resources from DC proper to be able to tell, oh, this is how we would like for this to be. Instead, they make them 50 Shades of Joker. And it's terrible. Every scene with Jared Leto, it does not help the fact he's not doing a good Joker. I hate to say that, but he's barely in the movie, which kind of helps because he's so fucking terrible in this. But it's such a piss poor time every time he's on the screen. There's massive, weird leaps in logic that don't make sense whenever it's happening. And then on top of everything, Harley is just constantly, oh, he's my love and blah. It really, really makes it feel like 50 Shades of Joker. And it's just so gross feeling. By the end of it, I'm like, I don't care. Like, the end of the movie pretty much, oh, Joker breaks out Harley. So, how? I don't know. Pretty much, Joker's able to do stuff because these places are guarded by, like, 3 guards. I do know one thing, and people may say this is, like, a minor thing to worry about, but one thing I don't like is Jared Leto, like, he'll sometimes smile, but half the time he's frowning. That's one of the creepy things about Joker, and that's one of the wonderful things that Heath Ledger's Joker added to it. Even though he seemed like he was frowning, he constantly had that smile put into his face. Or even Jack Nicholson's Joker, even when he was being threatening, he was smiling at you. That's what makes Joker so damn frightening. Frowny Joker doesn't frighten me. He just comes off as a joke. It just like, well, why would I take seriously this guy that's in white makeup with green hair? Who gives a fart? It's like, really, what do I care about this? Ugh. That helped to just turn this movie that already had a lot of problems because there was just too many characters in it. It was mushing too much together. And honestly, it probably needs to be longer. Or it should have just been a show. But it had so many issues that there's no way it could resolve it. And the Harley and Joker stuff ruined it for me. Especially when I first saw them kiss, it fucking killed it for me. I'm like, alright, I don't care about them. And it's bad because Margot Robbie does a good job as Harley. I originally was very, very on the fence about her because all the trailers, she seemed to barely have that accent that I associate with Harley Quinn. And I know people are like, you should like that. But to me, that's Harley Quinn. She always has that, she has a New York accent. And it's awesome. And it's just so corny, but it's fun. And she has that here. She does it fairly well. But there's so much shit that they do so wrong with Harley, with Joker. The story doesn't go anywhere throughout the entire thing. Like, it feels like this is just this is a climax for a season I was writing for a show called Suicide Squad. There really should have been a lot more of a build-up to any of this. But because they had set up so many characters, they couldn't build it up as well. It's an issue almost that Guardians of the Galaxy had with Ronan, because of the fact he didn't exactly know his power, but then he had an Infinity Gem, and then we learned from the collectors, like, yeah, Infinity Gem's kind of insane. Or like one of the most powerful things you can have that will destroy anything. Ronan gets his hands on it and just, I'm gonna be your bitches. Bitches. I'm gonna be your pimp and make you all my bitches. There we go. There's the line, especially when you got the hammer. Just make that staff and boom. Give him a little cape. But at least Ronan actually came off as a threat. Here, Enchantress never feels like a threat. And just ultimately, you're not worried about any of these characters. And that's a problem with Suicide Squad. You don't really care if many of these characters die. Maybe Margot Robbie or Harley Quinn and Deadshot you may be a little worried about, but everyone else you don't give that many shits about. Like the fact that Enchantress might have been dead. Well, who cares at this point? Like at the movie, in the movie, like we had to cut out Enchantress's heart. We're like, oh, it's so sad. Why do we care? She's been in this movie for about 5 minutes. And honestly, she just doesn't do anything. That's an issue there. Your big villain just can't be just there. It makes a lot of issues. Ugh. So yeah. I feel bad ragging on this movie because it has such a very good opening. Short of the shit with Joker and Harley, which bothers me, but still, at least they did Harley right by making her a doctor, even though there's issues. Like, pretty much how he browbeats her is literally he tortures her into it. Yeah, he's Christian from 50 Shades. So, you can't fucking argue this thing against me. I can tell you, he's Christian from 50 Shades in the worst ways. Literally, he gives her electroshock therapy till she submits completely to his will. Ugh, there's a lot of problems there. But there are some good parts, but it's bogged down by a story just doesn't go anywhere. Too many characters that you just don't care enough about. Very not good effects. And on top of everything, half-ass writing. Like, there are points where you're like, that seems kind of lazy. Whatever. Oh yeah, and also, I will say this much. Killer Croc has about 5 lines in this whole movie. He just... But to be fair, like, he growls most of his lines in the worst ways where you're like... It's like, I think he said something, or he might just farted through his nose. I don't know which. It's weird. Yeah, I can't recommend this movie to anybody. I don't know why you would want to go see this. Even if you're a huge Suicide Squad fan, and you're like, I want to support it. Don't just support it blindly. For instance, like, if people ask me, would you have suggested everybody go see every Marvel movie? No, if you like these movies, then go see it. I would suggest to people to have gone to see Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, even though Iron Man 2 is a big mess a lot of times. But Iron Man 3, I wouldn't have suggested anybody go see. It's not that great of a movie. Especially the second half is really, really poor. But it's like, just because we love the comics doesn't mean we have to just blindly give into and watch the movies and keep making them successful or anything. The only way these studios are going to give us good movies is if we do the right thing and don't see them. I mean, unfortunately, that's what people had to do with the Divergent series. I've heard a lot of issues with the Divergent series. I didn't like the first movie, so I didn't bother with the book or anything like that. But because people quit seeing it, they're not going to bother with it. And probably here in like 7 or 8 years, they'll try it again. Like, it'll be like its 15-year anniversary. Like, oh, we're going to make a new one. Probably. Who knows? But we have to start telling these theaters, like, or not theaters, these movie production companies, quit giving us such sorry adaptations. I mean, that's the reason why everybody didn't really want to go see Amazing Spider-Man 2. It wasn't because we wanted to go see it with Marvel or wanted to see Spider-Man be in an Avengers movie or anything like that. No, it's because we were tired of seeing a not very good Spider-Man movie. Even though I really liked Amazing Spider-Man, I would say it's better than the original 3. Yes, better than Spider-Man 2. I will fight to death about that one even. But Amazing Spider-Man 2 was terrible. Everybody admits it was terrible. And that's the reason why we needed to have let it die. And unfortunately, it's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to let the DC universe, or DC cinematic universe, die so it can be reborn. So hopefully they can learn from the mistakes. And be like, alright, let's at least try to make this fun. Let's try to actually put effort instead of just, oh, we're going to wholesale copy what Marvel has done. But not do it as well. If you want a number score, 3. I know I've been giving a lot of 3s lately. You know, like Star Trek got a 3. I think Independence Day also got a 3. No, I got 2. I can't remember. Yeah, this is a 3. This is an easy 3 almost. It could easily venture down to a 2 if the Harley and Joker shit was more there. Thankfully, it's cut down enough, and there's some good bits here and there. But it's just bogged down by such a lame story. It's such a piss poor attempt at anything. So, yeah, just don't bother with this movie. Go see something else. I don't know to go see anything. Save your money up. Go see Kubo and Two Strings. That looks like it's going to be fun, at least. I don't know. Go see War Dogs or something here in a couple weeks. Go see Sausage Party next week. Who knows? That's probably what I'm going to go see next week, Sausage Party. And people are like, it's just dicks and fart jokes. I like dick and fart jokes sometimes. Do them decently enough. It's like, I'll have fun with it. So yeah, that's Suicide Squad. It'll make you want to commit suicide afterwards, I think. But hey, next week, gonna talk about dicks. Lots and lots of wieners. Literally wieners. So, until then, I will see you all later.